What's up, LC heads? Another day in paradise. So, I was asked about Ruto today, and I figured, you know what? Why not cut in here real quick and just put in my 2 cents about Ruto? Personally, I think he's an amazing character. And as far as tanking goes, I think he's right up there with Grandass. I really do. Of course, Grandass is going to out-damage him completely. Now, I don't have him, so, I can't speak on it too much, but I know Grandass will out-damage him just from the few times that I've ran him. Grandass also has pretty good crowd control, a different kind of crowd control. He's AoEing and interrupting people. Ruto has crowd control where he actually aggroes everybody and makes them attack him, which can be super useful and super annoying in arena. Depending on which party setup I'm running, sometimes I will stay away from parties that have a Ruto in them, because as soon as you get sucked up in that, unless one of your characters can break free and then that character has to take out a healer and the rest of the party while everybody is attacking Ruto, it's ridiculous. So he's good. He is definitely good. Pretty much how I run Lance Cloudia is I run whatever damage, rogue, gimmick party that I'm playing at the time and just poking around having fun with. And then when I run into content where I can't beat that, I die, right? The first thing I do is I go to Ruto. like that's my go-to move, because Ruto is actually the healer for my account, which is kind of funny. But he definitely is. And the funny thing is, this guy right here has weathered some storms. He has kept some parties alive. He's at 115 out of 120 abilities unlocked, right? Why is that? Because I didn't get his last skills, his damage abilities. Why? Because I am running him as a healer. And on top of that, he's missing his last 1,000 hit points. Personally, I think they should have gave him 1,500 here, or even 2,000 like some of the other heroes are getting. But they decided to give him 1,000, right? I guess he's already beefy enough. And of course, Anchor Raid is over here, and this is his aggro move. So I'm going to finish that on him for sure. These will probably be the last things I get on this account, though. Like, really, I see no need to waste these resources when I'm not looking for any damage out of this character anyway. As a matter of fact, if we look at his equipment, for a while this guy was gripping the Zelbus blade, which is like 250 attack or something like that, and it was just like a complete waste, right? And actually this sword is better on him, even though it's dark attribute. The attribute doesn't matter. So what if his basic attack is going to be dark? He's not really going to be doing too much anyway, but this sword gives him, when guard is equipped, which it is, it gives him plus 3% to his guard rate, which is pretty damn good for a tank. And when guard activates, minus 5% damage. So that is why he is rocking the sword. I think it's a really good fit for him. The golden armor, the energy stone ring, right? Chance to recover 20% of the damage as hit points. That's why he's wearing that. Let's see. Also, it has some MP that it's giving him, so that's why I went with that ring. He's got the paladin shield for the auto guard, and just a little bit of hit points and stuff. So not the craziest build in the world, but this is typically all that it takes. He's at 92 SC. I have the shopkeeper ability on him just for movement. Tempest Dragon Blessing, right? This is 10 SC, but strength plus 10%. Physical damage taken minus 15%. That's really why I like Tempest Dragon Blessing on him. I was also messing around with this because of Ruto and his damage cap when he has his arc equipped. Whenever other people in the party have abilities like Tempest Dragon Blessing that add a type, that gives Rimuru a little bit more damage cap, I do believe. So it's another reason why that's on right there. He comes with Ether Shield. Nullify faint from enemy attacks. That's phenomenal. When close to death, reduce physical damage taken to 0 for 7 seconds, once per wave. This is going to help keep you alive. The faint, nullify faint from enemy attacks. That's just awesome. Rapid recovery, so he's going to bounce back from any status fairly quickly. Put reincarnation on him. He was rocking determination for a while, but that's 6 SC, and it's really not the best. So I'm trying reincarnation out, as a way to save some SC. He does have skill charge 2 for free. It comes in his kit. Special shield, right? This is very nice. Pretty much what this guy does is he takes 80% more damage, AoE damage, so that the rest of your team gets 50% damage reduction to AoEs. That is effing phenomenal. That is why I bring this guy. I just ran him in the Zlorg, the Heathen fight, the God one. Not the first clear, the second one, where it's on a higher difficulty. And pretty much I had to bring this guy to dampen the AoE damage that all the little fairies cast at the end, because it was just too much. I needed to keep my team alive longer so they could actually finish Zlorg off. And wouldn't you know, as soon as I put Ruto in, I had no problem clearing it at all whatsoever. So Ruto is taking 80% more damage, but he's so freaking tanky, right? And you set him up so he can take that damage, pretty much. He has Felix, which is great, right? Damage taken minus 20% and crit damage taken minus 20%. Armor high boost, armor boost that he comes with, right? Comes with the double hander. Now, notice how I don't have, like, any of the light attack rise or anything like that. This is all defense and support. So we're going to do like magic damage healing 2. These I toggle back and forth depending on which fight I'm going into. Sometimes I'll just take them off and save at 8 SC, or move it around somewhere else, right? So that gives me room. Goddess Kiss, it's nice that he comes with that. He's not going to recharge his MP as fast as like Roland, okay, because Goddess Kiss will let you steal 2% of the damage that you do as MP, and it doesn't proc all the time, right? The problem is, Roland's doing a ton of damage. He can hit for 30,000 with his basic attack, so when Goddess Kiss procs 2%, your MP bar is instantly full. That's not going to be the case with this guy, so he is going to have to work a little bit harder with his basic attacks to get some Goddess Kiss to go off, so I make sure to supplement that. Sacred Guardian, recovery magic power plus 20%, which is nice, and the cast speed is plus 50%. That's really nice. I think Roland has something like that built in too, right? And don't worry, they give this guy an AoE heal as well. But here's all of our light attacks and stuff that we have that we just never use, right? All the ice and all the fire. Really, I went through and got this stuff just to have the ice shield, the fire shield, the thunder shield. The shield abilities are important because depending on what I'm going after, I go to fight some mage that's dropping a fireball left and right, I will take off the physical damage healing, and that will give me enough to get fire shield to shield me from the fireball, and I'll still bring the magic damage healing, so it works out pretty well. He's pretty flexible this way. This one does not have Dusk because his MP is never going to be full since I'm constantly using him to buff and heal. Awaken, he comes with Summer Festival, Battlestar Autocast R, and Recast. For 3 SC, I'll take it just because of the Recast and the aura. It's going to make you heal a little bit more with a higher intelligence, and the Recast is nice for throwing your buffs and your spells. So obviously I have all of the Holy Wall, Thunder Wall, stuff like that, in case I need to bring it to support the party. He comes with auto haste, fast magic circles. I make sure to give him that, just to help him out in that department. He comes with auto protection. I make sure to put a little bit of stun resist on him, which that can be toggled. Typically leave that on though. For 5 SC, you can't go wrong. He comes with Night Mastery, Fiend Shield, right? I make sure to collect all the shields for him. It's a big deal, because remember, he's taking more of that AoE damage, so the rest of your team doesn't have to. So if that AoE damage is coming from a soldier, it's nice to have Soldier Shield. So he's taking less, even though he's taking more. It all ends up to him living longer, right? Royal Armor, Guard Impact. When Guard is equipped, a chance to make nearby enemies flinch when guarding. I think that one's really cool, especially for Arena. It does help your whole team. X-Guard is great. When Guard is equipped, damage taken during Guard minus 15%. When hit points drops to 50% or lower, Guard rate up. Him and Roland both have this. It's super nice. And of course, Guard Charge. You get some SCT when you are guarding. He has this for free, or I'd probably take it off of him if I had to pay for it, because I'm really not too worried about throwing his kit. Magic Guard, I keep on him, and Heal Guard, so that when he's guarding, he starts healing. So we'll run him real quick. You guys will see how he actually performs. Steel Guard, when Guard is equipped, damage while guarding is reduced. Yeah, I pay the 2 SC for that. I think it's worth it for him. Might even put that on Roland too, because these guys do guard a lot. He is going to guard more than Roland because of the sword that he has, right? That's giving him more guard. He also has a shield that has a chance to proc auto guard. Roland is not going to be running around with a sword like that and a shield like that, so it's going to be a big difference. There's no Proud Force here, because this guy's not critting. No crit, none, unless we're trying to crit on a spell. And with God Heal, it's healing so much that I really don't feel like I need to try to increase the amount he's healing per heal. But we have some resolves up that comes on him. A little bit of magic defense that can be swapped out for defense or whatever, depending on what I'm doing. No attack. And of course, we have as much MP as we can cram down his throat, and hit points. That's it. We're trying to survive. So now we get to the actual good stuff, right? He has Moon Saber to give people so they can, support heal themselves. That takes the pressure off of him having to heal, right? By throwing Moon Saber out there throughout the course of the fight, you'll probably save yourself as the healer from having to cast some God Heals, which are like 32 MP a piece or something like that. Moon Saber can also be taken off, so no big deal. He's coming with Shadow Circle, right, so that he reduces light resistance, and I believe I have Weaken on him, right, so he's going to be able to reduce light resistance. Why? Because specifically to run with Roland. That's pretty much what I set these little abilities up for, his little spells. But the big one that I rock for him personally is Name Giving. Consumes half of the unit's hit points and give an ally 10% strength, defense, intelligence, and mind. So 10% to all your stats. I know it's 7 SC. You're like, that's expensive, but if you have the arc to go with it, it adds 15%. So now you're giving everybody 25% strength, defense, intelligence, and mind. That's effing awesome. For 7 SC, that's worth it. And Roland is in a unique position to take advantage of name giving, because if you take away, I said Roland, Ruto, if you take away half of Ruto's hit points, he doesn't care, okay? If you do this to anybody else that's probably a healer, they're going to be more squishy, right? You take Theria down to half health, Theria could get one-shotted, Ruto's probably not going to get one shot even when he's at half health, so he can use name giving, give somebody 25% to all their stats, and then God heal himself, right? Even if he catches an attack, and since he doesn't flinch and he's super resistant to all that, it's going to be hard to catch him up and make him vulnerable when he's at half health. He's going to be able to get these heals off for himself, and then he'll name giving the next person and just heal himself up. So now Ruto is not only healing and giving minus 50% to AoE damage, right? And non-flinching and all this stuff, but now he's giving everybody a 25% stat buff. So now he actually does help, like in the whole support department, right? And obviously, I got room. I can move some stuff around. I can take a few things off of him, and he can bring, Blazer, Drain, just any kind of break that I would want him to throw, really, or some kind of other buff. But typically, just between name giving and Magic Castle, right? Like I typically leave room for Magic Castle. I would swap Moon Saber and maybe something else out for that. So this is how I run mine. And like I said, mine is specifically for healing and support, right? And like I said, there's been plenty of fights where I haven't had to use a healer. I just bring this guy because he is my healer. I mean, I don't get me wrong, I did pull an actual healer for content's sake because I know I'll get to the point where there will be some annoying fight where I'll have to have some kind of revive shenanigan. So I pulled for Sarah, whatever her name is. I don't even want to say Sarah. That's the baby mama's name. That name is cursed. Anyway, that foul taste out of my mouth. And that really derailed me. Yeah, I pulled her just for that because I don't have Theria leveled up or powered up at all. So, that's my official, actual healer. That's a healer for this account. But don't get it twisted. This is the guy that's been healing this whole time for all of the progress on this account and just everything, right? I technically haven't even got to really use my healer class hero in this game. That's funny because I use Ruto. And that's the whole point, is he works. Like, he's worked this whole time. It's substantial how much he adds to a team, right? His abilities are pretty simple. S1, S3, they're damage, they're light damage, so we don't really care. They could be used for a little bit of crowd control to like smack people around, to maybe get them away from a mage or something. That's about it. If I run out of things to throw on other heroes, I'll tap over to him and I'll try to throw something. Why not? Add whatever damage you can. But for the most part, his S2 is going to be, Anchor Raid. That is what's going to aggro everything to him. So that's of importance. And his S4, I think, is really neat because it makes Roland a little bit cheeseworthy. So here's what I mean. His S4, his special, is reduce damage taken to 0 for 12 seconds. Durability is max hit points times 2 and greatly recover hit points. So you have durability on this is double what your hit points are. So say you got like 30,000 hit points of durability here, and you're using this guy's stats. So you got that many hit points of durability, and this guy's got a 6,000 defense and a 4,000 mind. It's going to be really hard for something to chew through this and kill him when he's in that state. Which means that you pretty much, you drop this, and you got a 12-second window of a boss dropping a threshold, and you're going to be able to get through it. So when you get to a nasty part, and the boss is dropping a nuke, drop his S4, you're immune to it, and then when the threshold is over, he can start bringing people back to life. One of the things I didn't mention is Miracle Fluid. I rock Miracle Fluid on him because it is the cheapest way to bring people back to life. It only costs 5 SC, right? Regular Resurrect, I believe, costs 7 SC. Regardless, this guy is a pretty good candidate for it, right? With Miracle Fluid, it's just fine. He brings somebody back to life, and then he God heals them instantly. Works out well for the, for the few times that I've had to do it. And I think it's a solid play to get through thresholds, and just kind of bring your party back. It takes a little bit more time, obviously, than Theria. Just like, oh, S4, here we go. Everybody's back alive. You know, she's definitely got him beat in that department, but Theria's not going to, well, I shouldn't say Theria's not going to give damage reduction, because in her own way she does, by putting up walls, I believe. I haven't played with her in so long. Yeah, it's not the same as his damage reduction, though. And on top of that, when this guy does die, he gives everybody a defense in mind 60% buff and physical flinch nullification buff. That's pretty fucking huge, right? If something does wipe this guy out, hopefully after he brings back your team, and he dies, he's going to set your team up with this amazing, amazing defensive buff that's going to keep them alive. And the flinch nullification is a big deal, especially for bosses throwing attacks that flinch you at the end, where you can't get a hit on the boss. Like, the boss only has, I don't know, 1,000 hit points left, but nobody can attack him because everybody's flinched and everyone's dying. I mean, that is something that happens in Last Cloudia. So when this guy goes, bam, you know, anti-flinch buff and defense in mind 60%, after the survivor of the team catches that buff and becomes flinch proof, he's probably going to be better off suited to finish the boss fight, right? So it's really nice. It's a really nice support that's built in for when he does die, right? And then Paladin, again with the flinch, nullify flinch from magic attacks. That's awesome. That means while a blizzard's going off, or while there's magic attacks going off, he's not going to be flinching, which means he can be doing stuff. He can be interrupting the mage's next spell by using his skill kit, or he can be throwing his own spell. If you're not flinching, you can be god healing, right? So partial resistance to interruption when activating skills, so that's nice. Really though, I don't care about that one too much. Let's see, defense increases the more damage is taken from enemies, max plus 40%. That is really nice. It's almost kind of like, it's not an anti-chain damage. You're not getting damage reduction as the hits go up, but you're getting more defense as the hits go up. So they're going to do less and less damage. Something like this stacks with anti-chain damage very, very well. And speaking of which, he does have anti-chain damage. It's just not equipped because it's 12 SC, obviously. For some fights, it's absolutely awesome, though. I also have to teach him Hydro Shell and see how intensive that is on the MP pool. Hydro Shell will let you sacrifice 3 MP for 50% damage reduction, but your MP will drain from it as you take damage. So that's definitely still on the to-do list here. So regardless, he has great traits for support. He has a lot of support built into his traits, and the flinch resistant stuff is just awesome. So I would have to say he probably out-supports Grandass, even though Grandass is going to out-damage him. Crowd control, they have different ways of crowd controlling. This guy is going to provoke. Grandass is just going to drop AoEs and interrupt people. You know, and the S4 is nice, and it can be used to cheese some boss thresholds. So Ruto is still very, very relevant, okay? And I mean, obviously, you can get some damage out of him if you're in a fight where the boss is weak to light element. So he's like a shoe-in for light element fights, because I mean, unless you really, really need a hardcore intensive healer, this guy will probably, between the damage he's saving you and the amount of healing he can actually do himself if you set him up properly, right, he will probably suffice as the healer. And you cannot knock that AoE damage reduction. It just goes a super long way. And yeah, most of these bosses are throwing crazy AoEs. You can't get away from them. So very handy, very useful. That is my 2 cents and my 25 minutes opinion on Ruto. So he is still awesome. If you get him, build him, especially for those light fights. But honestly, when he's in a support role like this, it doesn't matter what element it is. It doesn't matter. What matters more to me is the attribute resistance. What damage are they doing to me? Since I don't care about Ruto doing damage, he's not really stuck in an element for me, right? So any fight I bring him to, he's just going to be standing there supporting and healing and doing all of that. So, whatever. I don't feel like he's actually locked into an element. He would be if he was an attacker. So, and that is why his sword doesn't match its dark element, because I could care less about, well, he wouldn't get a light attack rise anyway, because I don't have any of those equipped. So, yeah, forget what I was saying. So, yeah, this is mine. He works great. If you get him, rejoice. He is just absolutely awesome. He still is. And, like, I haven't even completely finished this one. I don't need to. He's still good enough. Let's actually show off what he can do a little bit. We'll just go into this match. We got Roland with us, right? We'll fight this demonic king. I think I have Sheeta. I set up another party for this. Where is it? There we go. Right, because this actually has the arc that I run for Ruto. This is the dragon arc that's going to give, first of all, it's going to give Blazer magic to all enemies, so slight break. But it also boosts the magic name-giving buff by 15%, and all attribute attack power plus 10%. That includes light, so woo, he is getting 10%, damage, but really it's for the 15% buff, right? And Roland needs it, because my Roland isn't even at 4,000 attack, so getting 25% to his attack, defense, magic, and etc., he can really use that here. And here's what I'll do, actually. I will apple pie Roland with his own apple pie. Ruto can shadow circle. So, also, it's kind of important to mention, one of the biggest downfalls of Ruto is getting him to cast consistently. Right now he's in casting mode. I'm casting spell after spell after spell, but as soon as he stops casting and he targets the enemy, he's going to want to run over there and slash him with his sword. When that happens, if I tell Ruto to do something, like cast a spell, he's going to be like, sure, right after I finish this attack. And that's a problem. See, where is he? There he goes. Right here. If I run him back here, he starts running at the boss. Right? I go to God heal myself, and I can't. He's going to finish running and attacking, and then he'll God heal. So this is kind of an ease of use edge that normal healers have, because most of them have a ranged attack. So they can stand there and do their ranged attack, and you can tap over on them and say, oh, heal this guy. And even the healer will finish doing her basic attack first, and then she'll heal whoever you told her to heal. It's just not as noticeable, because she doesn't have to run up to do her attack. So this can be annoying, right? Because now you have to pay a little bit more attention to your healer. It can very easily be avoided, though. So what I do is when I look at him standing there guarding through everything. He's getting MP back for that and everything. So what I do is when I click over, I can just let this boss go. He's not going to hurt Roland. In fact, Roland needs to get some basic attacks in so he can go into his rage mode at the end. There we go. 1, 2. He's at 265. That's enough. So if I'm running back and forth, pretty much what I do when I select him, I start running with him, and then I hit the magic button. I guess while he's standing there guarding, God heal yourself. Look at that. Straight from a guard while he is getting hit with magic. Look at Roland. Roland's flinched, yo. Do you guys see that? Roland will flinch a lot more than Ruto. That's why I bring them both here, because look at this. There's lightning going around all over the place. You will see Roland flinch a lot more than Ruto. Ruto will guard his way through it, right? And he's going to have no problem throwing out those heels as soon as you tell him to, especially if he's standing there blocking, right? But if he's running, like if I wanted him to cast on Roland right now and he's running at the boss, I make him run the other way. And the trick is I don't take my finger off the screen. So I don't know what people on computer do. I play with a touch screen. So you can actually tap your magic button while you're still holding the run joystick down, which took me a second to realize. So because what I used to do is I'd make him run and then I'd take my finger off and try to click on the magic button. The problem is as soon as you take your finger off the running tab, he starts running the other way. So now if this is how fast I can get into it with just one hand. Now if I tell him to heal, he won't do it. He won't do it because he already started running back. If I start running him and select the magic button while I still have, my other finger on the run stick, look at that. I can tell him to God heal, and he will instantly do what I say right on the spot. So that is the way to avoid that. You just kind of have to be wary of it. So, okay, let's actually try to finish this guy off. Go into our trance mode. Why not, right? And let's throw a melee mirror. And since we're going into trance, let's renew our name giving. I do wish his buffs lasted a little bit longer, but it is what it is. There's that apple pie, and look, we're taking damage right after that. Look at all the healing he's getting from it. It actually looks like he's getting healed up instead of taking damage. And he's getting MP back too. So, Roland, okay, he did transform already. And there we go with some actual damage. That's 2. And can we finish him? Make sure to keep that weaken debuff on him. And here, let's throw a God heal while we're getting electrocuted. Yep, no problem. You just had to finish his attack animation. And this is while he's getting hit with lightning. Like, make no mistake, Ruto's getting hit by that too. It's not just Roland. Roland's just the one that's really getting stunned by it. So, both of them together in the same party, obviously ridiculous. They feed off of each other. Roland's given him 20% more to his defense and minus 20% to special damage, I believe, which I think is like minus 40% to him because he already has special damage cut built into his kit. They're pretty damn good together. I do have to say that. So this is how I run my Ruto. He's playing well with Roland, right? And it was just a quick party to throw together, but I think you can see how resistant he is to crowd control and flinch because he's literally standing there in a thunderbolt and healing through it. So that's really the big draw for me. That's what made me actually run Ruto, is all that flinch resistance and stuff. And I kind of thought that boss shows it off a little bit, right? Just because of the constant lightning and shock that he's doing to everybody. I think Ruto does pretty well there, right? So let me know what you think. If I missed anything, please let me know. I think I went over just about everything about Ruto, at least my opinion of him and how I use him, as a healer and support in my account. And yeah, I hope this was helpful. Later, everybody.